more interesting things the New 52 did in the beginning was take almost all the AAA villains off the table in one form or another. For the Joker, it was getting his face cut off by the Dollmaker back in Detective Comics #1. Well, the Clown Prince of Crime is ready to make his big comeback and kick off an all-new Bat Family event called Death of the Family. It all begins here in Batman #13. Our comic begins with Commissioner Gordon and my favorite cop, Harvey Bullock, talking about how strange times have befallen Gotham. Snow is backed up the river, making it flow backwards, and a lion at the zoo was born with 2 heads. That and Channing Tatum was in 2 good movies this year. Back in the station, Gordon is looking over some counterfeit bills when the lights suddenly go off. He tells everyone to remain calm, but a voice in the darkness starts asking him if he's heard a joke before. A joke about a clown who walks into a police station. The Joker is looking for his face and killing every cop that crosses his path, all the while taunting Gordon, even bringing up his daughter. The lights come back on, and Batman is there to see the dead police officers and the missing face. Back in the Batcave, Bruce goes over all his Joker files, while Alfred says that he had hoped after a year of absence that the Joker might have been gone for good. Damian Wayne, in all his subtlety, says he doesn't know why the 2 old men are so afraid of the Joker, saying he was over the hill when he let a third-rate Dr. Frankenstein like Dollmaker get the drop on him. Bruce says the Joker let his face get taken and that he's surely been up to something for the last year. Nightwing calls the cave for an update and is soon joined by Red Robin and Batgirl. They say they're ready to help whenever they're needed, but Bats shoots them down, saying that they have important work to do, and this is between the Joker and him. It's then the TV news is hijacked by a man in Joker makeup saying that Mayor Hamilton will die tonight, before being shot in the head by the Joker. Batman says that that man was John Coleridge, son of diamond magnate Henry Coleridge, the first person the Joker ever killed in Gotham, and that he announced it the very same way. At the mayor's office, Gordon runs Hamilton's blood to make sure that he hasn't been exposed to Joker toxin. Batman and Gordon meet in the hall and say that the Joker seems different somehow. Angrier. He killed all those cops with his bare hands, where before he would always use henchmen. And now with reenacting his own crimes, why, it's almost as if something has been rebooted. It's only then Batman realizes it's not the mayor that's the target, but the police protecting him. Batman analyzes the Joker poison and sees that it has 3 new elements: aspirin, chlorine, and ethane. ACE, as in Ace, Ace Chemical, the place where the Joker was born. Batman goes to the famous chemical plant, which, let's face it, should have been torn down like 100 times by now. He finds a figure dressed in the old Red Hood costume. The figure harangues Batman by saying that he's gone soft in the Joker's absence. Why, he couldn't even defeat the Owls without help. If only things could go back to the good old days, the days of the Joker and the Batman. Bruce realizes this person can't be the real Joker and charges him, only to get smacked into an acid vat by a giant mallet. The figure removes their hood to reveal it's Old Man Jenkins. Nah, I'm joking, it's freaking Harley Quinn. In tears, Harley tells Batman that Mr. J just isn't the same. The comic ends with him knocking on the door of Wayne Manor, and oh my god, what's wrong with your face? You look like Satan's vomit. It's friggin' awesome. She'd been stabbed in the back by the murderous vigilante Nightfall, aka spoiled socialite Charisse Carnes, who began her violent crusade after a stay in Arkham for supposedly murdering her own parents. The twist, of course, being that while there she had met James Gordon Jr., who had been feeding her information. Let's see what all plays out in Batgirl #13. The comic opens with Barbara bleeding out from her injuries. Nightfall takes this chance to gloat, even asking Batgirl if there's anyone she would like informed of her death. She then calls her henchmen to clean up the mess, only to realize they aren't responding. But Babs isn't about to take this sitting down. She battles back and hard. She manages to hit Nightfall so hard I'm pretty sure she knocks some exposition loose. Turns out Teresa's father was a wealthy real estate baron and Gotham's last kingmaker. Everything he earned was through bribes and intimidation. Charisse worked hard her whole life and strived to live up to her father's legacy. That was until she met her boyfriend, Trevor, who made her think differently. Unfortunately, Trevor ended up killing Charisse's parents and forcing her to watch. Batgirl asks whatever happened to Trevor and why Charisse went to Arkham if she was innocent the whole time. Nightfall says she went to Arkham so she could learn the secrets of madness from murderers, rapists, and sadists, so she could give people like Trevor the punishment they deserve. This revelation shocks Barbara to the core, but she decides now that she knows Charisse is cuckoo for crazy puffs, she might as well play into her delusions. She says she's taking Ricky the car thief from before with her, and Trevor too. This causes Nightfall to lash out violently, giving Ricky a chance to grab her arm. Batgirl, in ladylike fashion, decks the crazy woman in the face, ending the fight then and there. Nightfall says no charges will ever stick to her, that she owns judges and cops alike, and that only a crazy person with a death wish would dare challenge her. At that moment, Batwoman and Detective McKenna enter the room and say that they have just that. Obviously, the villain does not take this well and says that she'll raise an army, she'll tear Gotham apart to its very foundation, just to get even with Batgirl. This doesn't even faze Barbara. Like a badass, she doesn't even flinch. She just tells Charisse to bring it on. The comic ends with Batgirl tending to her wounds as she receives a terrified call from her mother. 3 men in clown masks and Hawaiian shirts have broken into her house, saying that tonight is a night to make new memories. And if that's not bad enough, it seems Nightfall has made good on her threat by springing 3 of Batgirl's worst enemies, Mirror, Grotesque, and Gretel, from prison. Either way, it looks like things are going to get pretty bad for both Barbara Gordon and Batgirl. When we last left Batman, he had been trapped in an acid vat by a very angry Harley Quinn. Can the Dark Knight hope to escape and stop the Joker's bloody return to Gotham? Let's jump into Batman number 14 and find out. The issue opens with Batman being drowned in the same toxic soup that once gave birth to the Joker. He manages to escape, but not before his suit and ego take some serious damage. Bat returns to the cave and calls for Alfred, only to find it's completely empty. Don't worry, Bruce, I'm sure he just fell asleep watching Murder, She Wrote like all old people. Upstairs, Batman finds a purple and green package addressed to Bruce Wayne containing a cassette tape. I don't know what's crazier, the fact that the Joker still uses cassettes, or that Bruce Wayne just happens to have a tape player on hand. The tape starts and Bruce is told that his butler has been taken as a servant for, as the Joker puts it, a special celebration. Batman's next stop is the home of Commissioner Gordon. The man is already on edge and the situation is only made worse when Batman tells him that he's next on the Joker's hit list. He tells him to go someplace safe, but Gordon refuses, saying his men need him now more than ever and leaving would send the worst kind of message. It's then the Commissioner begins to bleed, first a little and then a lot. Later at the hospital, Batman meets with Nightwing and gets him up to speed on current events. He says that the entire Bat family is in danger, but that they should keep the Alfred kidnapping a secret, that if the others knew, they would give into anger and attack the Joker head-on. Nightwing asks what their next move should be, and Batman tells him the Joker is reenacting his old crimes, which means he will almost certainly be at the Gotham Reservoir. On his way to the reservoir, Batman reflects on how without Alfred, the man who raised him, the man who was like a father to him, he is for the first time in years truly, undeniably alone. Batman reaches the reservoir and finds the Joker waiting for him. Just like the first time, he plans to poison the water. The two banter for a bit, but to Batman's horror, the Joker has already blown the reservoir and killed the people living in the condos nearby. The Joker then flips a switch and has Batman bound to chattering teeth. Now that he has his arch-nemesis' full attention and the intention of the entire Bat family via radio, the Joker says that while Batman is king, he is a humble jester, someone who shares harsh truths with a smile, and the harshest truth is still yet to come. For you see, the Joker is angry, very angry, saying that Batman's sidekicks have held him back, made him weak, like Gordon, the bleeding heart who the Joker made bleed. And worst of all, the comic ends with the Joker saying he knows the Bat family's secret identities, and that he's coming for all of them very soon. Reads comics, remembers the horror suffered by Barbara Gordon at the hands of the Joker during the story Killing Joke. And if this cover is any indication, the real nightmare is only just beginning. Let's jump into Batgirl number 14 and see who's left standing. The comic opens where the last one left off, with Barbara still reeling from her mother's terrified phone call as she was taken by the Joker's gang. The phone rings again and Barbara is met by a robotic voice telling her that if she ever wants to see her mother again, she must do as she's told, and her first job is to make a sandwich. You see, this is why you never make villainous demands on an empty stomach. Barbara does as the voice demands, but she's also told that the same men who took her mother are coming for her now. Barbara's scared, her emotional scars are deep, but she's also angry and ready for a fight. She swings into action and proceeds to beat her attacker senseless, just like she dreamed about all those times before. Barbara's roommate comes back, only to be told that she needs to get to safety and that no matter what happens tonight, she will never see Barbara again. Directed by the call, Batgirl hits the street and tracks the clowns to the Cherry Hill roller rink. Really, a roller rink? I guess these places only exist in Gotham now, am I right? The Joker and Barbara's mother are already inside, and things do not look good for anybody. Batgirl is certain this is all a trap, but she manages to fight her way through the Joker's gang and make her way inside. Batgirl confronts the Joker and asks why he bothered to lead her there, only to be told that he didn't. The Joker hasn't touched a phone all night, and the voice on the phone is revealed to be none other than her sick and twisted brother, James Gordon Jr. Things go from bad to worse as the Joker says there's a 5-pound nail bomb under her mother's chair, and that if it goes off, she'll live, but not well. That is, of course, unless Barbara agrees to his terms, to stop holding Batman down, and the Joker plans to do this by offering her mother's severed ring finger and a marriage proposal as the comic ends. What I really liked about DC's last event, Night of the Owls, was that every story was a done-in-one. Death of the Family seeks to up the ante by making each tie-in comic a multi-part story, except for Catwoman number 14, which is the only single-issue tie-in for this whole event. Is this a blessing or a curse? Let's dive in and find out. The comic opens where the last issue left off, with Catwoman having rescued a child from a high-stakes chess game where real people were used as pieces. The Joker reveals he has strapped a bomb to the kid and he's gonna blow him sky high unless Catwoman agrees to go to hell with him. Oh no, he wants her to go to Detroit with him. Don't do it, Catwoman. No, it's not Detroit. It's the hellhole ride at one of Gotham City's many creepy abandoned amusement parks. Joker straps Catwoman into a ride which he has supercharged to spin so fast it will strip the flesh from her bones. All it really does is strip her costume from her body before she's sprayed in the face with white-hot foamy liquid. Oh, thank God it was just water. Hey, did I mention a woman wrote this? Just saying. Maybe we're all a little too rough on Judd Winnick. Selina comes to with the Joker trying to give her mouth-to-mouth. Ugh, there's my nightmare fuel for the week. But it's not all bad. Mr. J has a brand new cat suit ready for her. Why, he even offers to zip her up. She puts on the costume and the Joker gets down to business, saying he wants Catwoman to stop loving Batman, that it makes him weak and that she could make a much better adversary, a black queen in chess terms. Catwoman starts thrashing the clown prince, but wouldn't you know it, the costume he gave her was tainted and now she's paralyzed. Come on, has no one ever told this lady don't take candy from strangers and don't take leather catsuits from clowns? You know, it's getting to say stuff like this that really makes me love my job. The Joker yet again mentions his little black book made of bat leather before saying that there's more than one way to skin a cat, and he challenges Catwoman to a game of strip poker. No, really. The two talk a bit. Joker is jokey and Catwoman is, well, catty, before the Joker gives her a smooch filled with the antidote, then he just kinda lets her go. Selina returns home and removes the suit, only to discover that her body is now covered in bat symbols. Symbols which easily wash off, so what was the point of any of this? She leaves to talk to one of her contacts, and on her way back she's again attacked by the Joker, who is now driving an ice cream truck filled with freaking piranhas. Now that is some Cesar Romero Joker stuff. The cat and the clown clash once more, but the fight is interrupted when Selina says she thinks the Joker is the one who's in love with Batman. And you know what? He agrees. The comic ends with Catwoman saying she refuses to be part of the Joker's sick game, why she even goes as far as to use the word biatch. No joke, I'm not being cute. Catwoman really says biatch at the end of this comic. Created by Paul Dini for Batman the Animated Series, Harley Quinn is hands down my favorite female character in all of comics. When I heard they were breaking her and the Joker up for the New 52, I was skeptical to say the least. The couple is, after all, the Sid and Nancy of comics. But these two mad lovers are getting back together in Suicide Squad number 14, so let's jump right on in. The comic opens with the funeral of Floyd Lawton, aka Deadshot. Harley is especially torn up because the two had a relationship going before his death. As a matter of fact, I vividly remember dropping the book right after the two dropped their clothes and got it on, officially making Harley yet another female character who got her tits out for no seemingly good reason. The funeral is crashed by none other than the clown prince of crime himself, and despite the smile, he's not happy. The Joker's gang sprays the squad with a green mist derived from his own Joker gas that knocks the crowd out cold. Harley is ecstatic to see her beloved Mr. J again, but she's greeted with a Chris Brown kiss, by which I mean a punch in the face. You see, the Joker's been keeping tabs on his lady for some time now, and she's got some splainin' to do. He knows about Deadshot and decides Harley needs to be punished. He threatens different members of the Suicide Squad before Harley agrees to help and go with him, leading us into the scene from Batman number 13. Back at Belle Reve, the squad does some damage control and say that Harley must have built up an immunity to the Joker gas, which explains why she didn't pass out. They suggest sending a team after her, or at least warning Commissioner Gordon, but skinny Amanda Waller shoots down the whole thing like a game of duck hunt, saying that they should just blow her bomb implant and sever all ties to this mess. mess. It's at this point the tie-in portion of this tie-in comic just kinda stops. We see what King Shark and El Diablo are up to, and I get the feeling that if I had been keeping up with this series, I might have a better understanding of what's going on. When we meet back up with Harley Quinn, she's on her way out of the Ace chemical plant, only to be caught by the Joker and hung from a chain as the comic ends. Sometimes it's the simplest covers that speak the loudest, and Batman number 15 is one of those, showing that the Joker is always at the center of Batman's mind, laying heavy on each and every thought. When we last left off, the Joker had revealed that he knew the secret identities of the Bat family. Let's see what happens next. As the comic opens, we're treated to a splash page of the Joker's twisted face. Batman opines on how his eyes are unlike any other hardened criminals he's ever faced, black and beady with no joy or affection, like he hates everyone and everything. Back at the reservoir, the police, led by my favorite Gotham cop, Harvey Bullock, attempt to take the Joker into custody. It does not go well, as the Joker's goons bombard the police chopper with rockets. Batman bursts through the fire and the flames and delivers a brutal beatdown to the clown prince, even knocking his face loose. Of course, while beating him with his bare hands probably felt really good, the Joker's toxic blood manages to weaken Batman long enough to get kicked into the water. Later, he wakes up in Wayne Manor surrounded by the Bat family, who tell him they managed to fish him out of the water before any real damage could be done, and that Jason caught the Joker while he was escaping. Nope, no way Red Hood did anything useful. This has to be a dream. And why, yes, when Joker-faced Alfred shows up, swinging an axe like Jack Nicholson in The Shining, it is revealed to indeed be a dream. When Bruce wakes up for real this time in the Batcave, surrounded by the real Bat family, they say they need to talk. They ask how it was possible for the Joker to know who they are. Batman says that he must be lying and that there's a secret he never told them. For you see, in one of his earliest battles against the Joker, he returned to the Batcave only to be met by a Joker playing card, the same model of which hangs in the cave right now. Barbara and the others argue that if the Joker was ever in the cave, he could easily have riddled out who Bruce was and the others through association. Batman says there were dozens of fail-safes in place to stop that kind of thing from happening, and that the Joker only wanted to sow seeds of mistrust amongst the Bat family. Oh, and Damian and Red Hood fight. You know, people don't like Damian, but he hates Red Hood almost as much as I do, so I let it slide occasionally. Batman says the Joker must have gotten help to pull off that stunt at the reservoir, so he tracks one of the goons' cell phones back to his house and bursts right in on the guy during family dinner. Turns out the guy's a guard at Arkham who was threatened like so many others into working for the Joker. The comic ends with Batman speeding to Arkham to meet the Joker's insane celebration, whatever it may be, head-on at the house that crime and madness built. We've already seen how Batgirl and Catwoman fared against the Joker, now it's Robin's turn in Batman and Robin number 15. Let's jump in. The comic opens with Damian Wayne going over the security footage from the night Alfred was taken. He says his father, Batman, told him to stay in the cave and serve as tech support for the entire Bat family, but Damian, being the problem child that he is, decides to strike out on his own and look for clues. He finds trace amount of hyena urine and follows the lead to the Gotham Zoo. Once there, he sees a guard has been eaten by a group of hyenas. Robin engages the crazed animals, but in the end ends up falling through a glass ceiling and passes out. When he comes to, oh God, I know I used this joke before, but what the hell is wrong with your face? The Joker is standing over him, and to make matters worse, he just so happens to be wearing his face upside down. That's nice. Damian comes stumbling out of a giant egg. I just like to say that. That makes me smile. And to compound the whole situation, those hyenas just so happen to be carrying Joker toxin, which means Damian is tripping balls on top of everything else. He is not having a good night, is he? Robin and the Joker take turns sizing each other up, and in an interesting twist, Damian doesn't respect the Joker, and the clown prince doesn't know what to make of this new, more psychotic Robin. The conversation turns to Alfred, and the Joker shows Robin the video of Alfred having his eyes burnt by ammonia. As he had done in the other tie-ins, the Joker says Damian is tying Batman down, eclipsing his greatness. He flips a switch and soon Robin is drowned by a sea of grubs and other bugs. The comic ends with the Joker saying Robin's greatest fear is being responsible for the death of Batman and vice versa, just as a Joker-faced Batman rises from the bug. I'm sorry, were you expecting Armin for this review of Detective Comics number 15? You know, he's only busy reviewing like every Marvel book that came out this week. Plus, seeing as this book ties in with Death of the Family, it looks like it falls to me to review it. So let's jump in and see what happens. The comic opens with the Penguin's goons burying Poison Ivy alive. You know, there's a Kill Bill joke in there somewhere, but damned if I'm gonna make it. Turns out Ivy's been having a busy month as we see she's tied the knot with Clayface, aka Basil Carlo. Clayface is pretty pissed that his blushing bride has gone missing and decides to take his anger out on the dear Dark Knight. Batman has no time for this spurned lover crap as he already has his hands filled with the Joker at the moment. Across town at the Penguin's office, we see the old bird is acting very strange. Not Danny DeVito strange, but still very odd. Anyone who reads the backup story in Batman number 14 will know this is because the Joker is blackmailing him with a full-on gang war. Penguin tells his number 2, a guy called Olgolev, he needs to take a trip to Arkham and that he's in charge until he gets back. At the Batcave, Bruce runs tests on the flower he took off Clayface and cross-references it with Poison Ivy's time in the Birds of Prey. Clayface is still wrecking up the town like the Who used to wreck hotel rooms. Gordon and his men hold the line, but they say they have no means to stop him. Gordon having made a miraculous recovery since the last time we saw him. Batman makes the scene, dressed in a new costume, one that I can barely describe. God, it looks like a Ghostbuster had sex with the Ratcatcher. Wouldn't you know it, Clayface was never married to Poison Ivy. He only thought he was because of the special flower messing with his mind. Batman sprays Clayface down with his special bat juice, or is it orange Kool-Aid? I can't tell. But it's not enough to finish off the old dirt pile as he smashes his way through the streets and takes off underground with Batman in hot pursuit. The comic ends with Ugolov digging up Ivy, saying that with the Joker involved, he doubts the Penguin will be coming back, and that he has now christened himself the Emperor Penguin. Wow, did you stay up all night coming up with that name, guy? As the cover suggests, we're cordially invited to the unholy union of Batgirl and the Joker. Let's jump into Batgirl number 15 and see if we can't catch the bloody bouquet. The comic opens at Arkham some time ago with the Joker being met by his psychiatrist, Dr. Yee. Seriously, I bet all the doctors at Arkham have to draw straws to see who has to work with the Joker. The Clown Prince has given the Doctor his book, a place where he's recorded his innermost thoughts and secrets. Needless to say, this has Yee terrified. Back at the roller rink, Joker goes over his plans for the wedding while Barbara fights the urge to kill the clown right where he stands. Barbara knows if she doesn't go along with this sick game, her mother's as good as dead. We see James Jr. watching from across the street when he gets a call from Elisa, Barbara's roommate, asking him to pick her up. While he fights at first, he agrees to come get her. Jim Gordon didn't raise no fool, so Batgirl acts fast and manages to turn things to her advantage by calling out the Joker's gang, saying that if the nail bomb goes off, it'll kill them too. Now with the upper hand, Barbara proceeds to leap into action and beat the Joker with every inch of her being, taking special care to brutalize his spine. How very poetic of her. She grabs the gun Joker was holding and places it to his back. For a second she thinks about how easy it would be to pull the trigger, to blow him away, and how it would almost be worth all the disgrace. A sniper bullet cuts this scene short, and Batgirl is again at the mercy of this madman. He gives her a list of things to pick up and tells her to meet him at the church for the ceremony. Barbara takes care to save her mother's finger and even cold cocks one of Joker's goons on the way out just for good measure. James Jr. calls up the Joker and says he's very unhappy with the situation and that the two women are not his to play with. When Elisa asks what's going on, James says that he's going to see his sister. Batgirl reaches the church as the scene is intercut with the Joker talking to Dr. Yee yet again. He says he always thought about his wedding, but the problem with women is that they're all prone to infidelity, and that the only way to keep them from cheating is to cut off their arms and legs and keep them forever. The comic ends on a chilling note as Barbara is ambushed by the Joker's wedding gang. We've already seen how Damian the newest Robin did battle against the Joker's machinations, but what about the original, Dick Grayson? Let's jump into Nightwing number 15 and see what happens. The comic opens with a bunch of workers from Haley's Circus having a night on the town. One of the clowns, a guy named Jimmy, splits off from the group and goes down a dark alley, where he's met by a very familiar grin and a green gas that turns him into another Joker-faced nightmare. Ugh, somebody send in the clowns already. Nightwing and Batgirl are patrolling the rooftops and trying to come to terms with what Batman told them, that the Joker might very well know their secret identities. This is made worse by the fact that the Joker has broken out Rhea, one of Dick's old circus friends turned enemies out of Blackgate. Dick gets a call from his lady friend Sonia to get to Amusement Park Mile because Jimmy has been found hanging from one of the park's signs. Fearing for the employees' lives, Dick gets them to pack up the circus and prepare to leave town. After running down some Blackgate leads, Nightwing decides it's time to head to the morgue and investigate the body. Seriously, Gotham has like the worst security for its morgues. Dick goes to meet with Sonya, and the two share a tender moment, followed by a kiss. One that gets pretty awkward when you remember Sonya is Tony Zuko's daughter. Yep, the guy who killed his parents, and you thought your girlfriend had some daddy issues. Nightwing's analysis finishes, and the findings lead him to a Klein Industry hangar where the Joker is already waiting for him. A knife fight ensues, but wouldn't you know it, this person isn't the Joker. It's Rhea turned into a Joker-faced monster. Nightwing defeats Rhea, but the Joker escapes, and to make matters worse, the poison has taken its toll on the girl and she dies as a result. The comic ends with Dick reading a message on Rhea's body telling him to go to the amusement park mile, because the Joker's real party is just starting. When I said I was going to review all of the Death of the Family tie-ins, I meant it. Even Red Hood and the Outlaws number 15. Now, regular viewers of the comic book cast and my reviews in general will know this series and I don't exactly see eye to eye. That being said, I plan to give this issue the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully it'll surprise me like Batman and Robin did. The comic opens on a pretty good note actually, with my favorite Gotham cop, Harvey Bullock, taking Jason Todd into custody. Red Hood does his best Marv from Sin City impression and beats up the cops. You really can't blame them. I mean, Jason was holding an ODing woman in his arms. Red Hood takes Bullock's keys and makes his escape, only to be gassed by the Joker. Oh, you got clown punked. Of course, God forbid a Bat Family story should stay that way, because we cut over to Star, Skank, and Roy Jerk. This scene adds nothing, so moving on. Red Hood wakes up having been injected by a paralyzing agent and with an oh-so-familiar crowbar nearby. It's also here the Joker makes mention of how he masterminded Jason's becoming a Robin so he could kill him and therefore hurt Batman. Yeah, I think it's stupid too. You can blame the Zero issues for that one. The two fight for a bit, and while it looks like Red has the upper hand, the crowbar turns out to be electrified. Now that is some classic Joker. We see Bullock at the hospital get in contact with the rest of the Outlaws. Oh no need to rush or nothing. Red Hood actually seemed to have this under control, you know? Red comes to and the Joker begins to play his mind games on, and complete with a bullet dug out of his father and mannequins of him and his dead mother. It begins to sink into Jason that the Joker might very well be responsible for his creation, making him nothing more than a walking punchline. The Joker flips a switch and Red Hood falls down a shaft right on top of Red Robin. The comic ends with Starfire and Arsenal landing in Gotham to find other heroes locked in battle with clowns, and a message saying that this story will be concluded in Teen Titans number 15. If you remember, I was pretty disappointed by the actual lack of Harley and Joker action in the last issue of Suicide Squad. Let's see if they can fix that problem in Suicide Squad number 15. The comic opens where the last issue left off, in the depths of the Ace chemical plant, with Harley being choked by the Joker. All the while, her internal monologue talks about how much she respects and reveres the Joker for his greatness. She passes out, and when she comes to, the Joker has strapped her to a gurney above yet another acid vat. Back at Belle Rev, it's revealed that Skinny Waller is watching this whole thing as to get a better grasp on the Joker's psychology. Why? I have no idea. It's not really important. Let's move on. Harley manages to wrestle her way out of certain death before the Joker sicks the now rabid Bud and Lou on her. Harley is disgusted that he could do such a thing to their pets, but the Joker says that the disease has made them stronger, more primal, just like him, and soon Harley will be the very same. The beasties are soon dispatched, and now Harley turns her scorn on the Joker, who bites her ear like a pale-faced Mike Tyson. Damn. So, apparently in this new 52 version, Harley is the way she is because she took an acid bath just like the Joker. Now, I do not like this because it makes the Joker transformation much less special than it really should be. After a quick fake-out where it looks like the two have reconciled, the Joker manages to incapacitate Harley and take her deeper into the plant, where it's revealed that she is just another in a long line of Harleys, Joker's special little plaything. Okay, now I really do not like this revelation, as it undercuts Harley's importance in the greater scheme of things in a big way. Paul Dini wouldn't like this. Hell, Paul Dini would be ashamed. Harley manages to slip her shackles and escape to make her way back to Belle Rev, where Skinny Waller and Captain Boomerang are waiting. The comic ends with Deadshot turning out to be alive. Yay, I guess. On the list of characters who got royally screwed over by the New 52, Tim Drake is pretty near the top. This is extra apparent during this Bat Family event when we as the readers aren't exactly sure about Red Robin's relation to everyone else, or even if he was a Robin at all. Hopefully Teen Titans number 15 will have some answers to these questions. Let's jump in and find out. The comic opens with, "Oh no, bad girl, get out of here. Leave Barbara alone, Scott Lobdell, leave her alone. She's been through a lot recently." But seriously, what the hell is wrong with this picture? Her ass is up in the air because, hey, that's how Scott Lobdell understands women, I guess. Her spine is twisted and contorted, and she's snarling at the reader like she hates you for reading this comic. Oh, and look at that, she just made an iCarly joke. What the hell? Batgirl meets up with the Teen Titans who are looking for the missing Red Robin. She fills them in on all the stuff with the Joker before we cut over to Tim Drake, still at the mercy of the Joker. Tim has been dressed in his original Red Robin costume and the Joker has taken his glider cape. The clown begins to harangue Tim, saying that he was the most boring of the Robins and the most arrogant. Okay, I don't agree with that, but you are the crazy guy, so let's go with it. The Joker says that Tim has stolen Batman's discipline and that by killing him he can get it back. Back with the Titans, they decide to split up and search places connected to the Joker's old crimes. Kid Flash, using his super speed, scours most of the old crime scenes before coming upon the Wayne apartment complex, where trouble is of course already waiting for him. Meanwhile, the Joker continues to taunt Tim and the Titans, even going as far as to call them a Bieber band. Wow, two horrible pop culture references in one comic. Scott Lobdell and Fabian Nicieza, you really know how to treat your fans, and I respect you for that. The Joker's plan is revealed to be that Kid Flash is unknowingly kicking up poison Joker dust all over the city in an attempt to cause mass death and destruction. Across town, Bunker and Wonder Girl rush to aid Kid Flash and Solstice, who have come under attack by an army of very angry clowns. Oh no, it's the gathering of the Juggalos up in here. Heck, even Black Canary and the Birds of Prey stop by for a panel before leaving. How nice of them. The comic ends with Starskank and Roy Jerk of the Outlaws coming to save the day. In the last issue, Batman ascended the steps of Arkham Asylum in a scene ripped right from a serious house on a serious earth. And now we have Batman number 16, the penultimate issue of the Death of the Family event. Batman must confront the Joker's twisted design. He killed Jason Todd. He crippled Barbara Gordon, and if this cover is any indication, the worst is yet to come. The comic opens with Batman coming across the Arkham guards who have been forced to dance in Batman and Joker clothes. The floor is also flooded, and if Batman tries to save them from their very campy fate, they'll all get electrocuted. Thankfully, Batman is always prepared and deploys his bat sponges to absorb the water. Next stop is the Arkham offices, where Batman is blindsided by a flaming horse? Wow, it is getting all kinds of apocalyptic up in here. Joker's voice comes over the intercom, and again he talks to Batman how he is the king and that Arkham Asylum is his kingdom. Now he must do battle with his royal knights, the asylum inmates. Batman manages to battle back the mob and move on. It turns out with Dollmaker's help, Joker has made a massive tapestry, one comprised of human flesh, detailing his history with the Batman. The Dark Knight is more determined now than ever to bring the clown's sick game to an end, but before he can do that, he must fight his way past some of his most famous foes, including Mr. Freeze, Clayface, and the Scarecrow, all handpicked by the Joker himself. Once Batman reaches the innermost sanctum, he is shocked to see the Joker has a throne waiting for him. Mr. J goes on to say these people are his true family, as well as more hostages dressed in Justice League garb. Batman manages to save the hostages by cutting some wires, but the Joker has one last trick up his sleeve. The Joker shows footage of the Bat family at his mercy, and says that if Batman ever wants to see them alive again, he'll take a seat upon the throne. As the comic ends, with no choices left, Batman sits on the electric chair before being brutally shocked. Pleasantly surprised by how good the last issue of Batman and Robin was. Can issue number 16 live up to my new expectations? Let's jump in and find out. The comic opens with Damian about to do battle with the crazed, Jokerized Batman. Damian tries his very best to talk Batman out of his state, but it's a no-go. Joker's toxin is very strong, and worst yet, it's made Batman susceptible to suggestion. They battle for a bit before Robin decides to take a page out of Sun Tzu's book The Art of War and take the fight outside. He throws a batarang, or is it a Robin-a-rang in this situation? I can never tell. So he throws his thing and manages to open one of the zoo doors. Robin manages to run to the polar bear pool and the fighting recommences underwater. Damian, fearing for his own life, strikes back with a vengeance and manages to break a few of Batman's teeth. The Joker watches on and comments how Bird Boy will either kill Batman or be killed by him. It looks like Robin may finally have the upper hand in the fight, but in a surprise turn he surrenders, saying he would rather be killed by Batman, his father, than be forced to kill him. Before the final blow can be struck, however, Batman's chest explodes. Damian crashes to the ground in both agony and anguish as the Joker taunts him more.
Robin pulls a screwdriver from the Joker's belt and stabs him in the foot before he's knocked unconscious. Before passing out, the Joker removes Batman's cowl to reveal him to be an imposter. A super convincing imposter, mind you, but an imposter nonetheless. The comic ends with the Joker walking Robin down a dark hallway, telling him that in Batman's new kingdom there is no place for a prince, before finally showing him yet another bloody plate, like the one we saw at the end of Batman and Batgirl. Last Detective Comics, we saw Batman battle a lovesick Clayface before we were introduced to a new villain calling himself the Emperor Penguin. And yes, before all you avian experts decide to flood the comments section, I know an Emperor Penguin is a bigger, more powerful penguin in the wild, but come on, the penguin's already a pretty silly name. Tacking Emperor on the end doesn't make it much better. I mean, if my name was Cletus Cornwallis, you would still all probably laugh at me if I tacked the word doctor in front of Cletus Cornwallis, am I right? Our comic opens with the unfortunately named villain in question using fake Joker gas on a dentist office. This bit is completely pointless to the actual issue and really only applies to the backup story, so moving on. The real meat of the story is Batman explaining the type of madness that the Joker instills in the city's criminals, and how he has both imitators and worshippers, much like the Jokers with a Z gang you might have seen from Batman Beyond. Batman beats up a gang of clowns looking for a particular Joker gang called the League of Smiles. Apparently calling themselves Juggalos was a little too on the nose, am I right, my ninja? Turns out Batman's been keeping tabs on the League of Smiles, and one of their members in particular, a young firebug going by the name Torch. This particular insane clown posse are looking to attack the Homestead Youth Center as they hold a memorial for people killed in the Joker's newest attacks. Batman continues to roast the local clowns, before meeting up with my favorite cop Harvey Bullock, who is in the middle of handling a hostage situation. It would seem Torch isn't too keen on killing kids. Clearly, killer clowns have consciences sometimes. Batman saves the hostages by shooting one of the attackers in the face before making a beeline for the youth center. When Batman arrives, both the clowns and the kids are gone. Apparently, Torch let the kids escape before his sick and twisted mind took over, and he cut off his own face in tribute to the Joker. Ugh, nasty. The comic ends with Torch telling Batman that the League of Smiles will certainly kill again, especially with their new boss, a guy called the Merrymaker, at the helm. He took her legs, kidnapped her mother, and now in Batgirl number 16, he's gonna try to get Barbara to marry him. Can Batgirl escape the clutches of the clown prince of crime, or is this Bat about to have her wings clipped? Let's find out. The comic opens with a flashback of Barbara Gordon during the early days of her therapy after the Joker's attack. This is a dark time in our heroine's life, one in which she dreams every night about choking to death the man who ruined her life and left her in a constant state of fear. In the present, Batgirl is walking down the aisle at gunpoint. She reassures the priest, who is freaking out, and reassures herself by saying this is the only way to save her mother. The Joker again talks about his little book, and how people like Batgirl are dragging his Bat King down, and this is the only way to wipe the chessboard clean. Mr. J decides to make good on his threat from the last issue and pulls out a massive chainsaw. Well, you know, with the skin mask and now the chainsaw, I'm getting a very Sawyer family vibe off this whole thing. Batgirl decides that it's do or die time, no more living in fear, as she begins to violently lash out against the clowns. She's brutal, she's merciless. They say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, but that is nothing compared to a Batgirl scorned. She goes so far into a berserk rage that even the priest begins to get scared of her. Things get much worse as James Gordon Jr. comes waltzing into the church holding 2 grenades. He tells Barb their mother is safe and to let loose on the clown. She does and delivers one of the best face kicks in the long history of comic book face kicks I have ever seen. Too bad for Batgirl, her brother is a dirty liar and a psycho in his own right, because as she grapples with the Joker, James chloroforms her from behind. Junior strikes a macabre deal with Joker, saying he can have Barbara, but their mother is his. The comic ends with Barbara coming to with the Joker standing over her with a bloody serving plate. Last issue of Nightwing, Dick had been forced to do battle with an old flame before being sent to face the Joker at Haley's Circus. Can he overcome the clown, or is his fate already sealed? Let's jump in and find out. The comic opens with Nightwing rushing to Amusement Park Mile. When he arrives, the circus has already been transformed by the Joker into a Harlequin nightmare. The Joker says that the circus was always a place for bad kids to run off, and that Dick is no different. He left his beloved Batman behind and tried to make it on his own in another city. Nightwing enters the big top only to be horrified by what he sees. The Joker has dug up the bodies of past circus employees, and this gets a lot more macabre when you realize Dick's parents are probably in there somewhere. Ugh. Before Dick can rush the Joker, he sets off a bunch of gas bombs, causing Nightwing to trip balls like this was a Grateful Dead concert. The Joker continues to destroy Nightwing's childhood home before sending horrible visions of his past to fight him. Nightwing starts giving the Joker a royal thrashing, but as always, the clown has a terrible ace up his sleeve. All of Dick's friends and employees have returned, only now they're Jokerized nightmares. Nightwing can't bring himself to fight his loved ones, and he ends up getting his clock punched. The comic ends with Dick being dragged off into the darkness, and the last thing we see is the Joker's bloody silver platter. The last issue of Red Hood and the Outlaws, Jason Todd had been taken hostage by the Joker while Starfire and Arsenal came to the defense of the Teen Titans. How will they escape? Will it be extreme? Let's jump in and find out. The comic opens with the heroes locked in combat with a bunch of Jokerized homeless people. Arsenal is trying to take charge of the situation, only for Kid Flash to turn to Wonder Girl, which pisses Arsenal off. "Checking in with a girl before you listen to me?" he says. God, I guess you can add sexist to the laundry list of problems Roy Harper has in the New 52. The two teams manage to push back the clowns before Roy runs some tests on the Joker toxin and traces it back to a warehouse down by the docks. Because let's face it, it's always a warehouse down by the docks in these things. Roy and Bunker stay behind to keep the clowns busy while everyone else rushes to the warehouse to see if they can find anything to reverse the Joker's poison. We get a flashback to Arsenal's time with Killer Croc. This is just the first of many scenes of padding in this issue. Starfire, Wonder Girl, Kid Flash, and the rest arrive at the warehouse to find the cure already waiting for them. How convenient. But because this is the Joker, we're dealing with a bomb soon goes off. And because this is a Scott Lobdell comic, we need a scene of Wonder Girl showing off her ass, and Kid Flash talking about boning both her and Starfire. Bunker and Roy continue to fight the clowns, but hey, that's boring. Let's see what Doctor Strange is up to. No, really, the comic cuts in the middle of a fight to show us something completely unrelated. Thanks to lazy writing, I mean Kid Flash, he was fast enough to gather the cure before it all exploded. Wonder Girl comments on how this is all too easy, like someone was trying to pad out the story. I mean, the Joker meant for this to happen so he could distract the team from saving Red Hood or Red Robin. KF injects the crowd with the antidote and they all turn back to normal. But that's boring. I wonder what Deathstroke's up to. No, really, for the second time, this comic stops itself completely to go do something else, like it was bored and decided to start flipping channels. The comic ends with the Joker working on a new Red Hood mask. Sure was nice of him to show up in his own event tie-in, am I right? And so we have Teen Titans number 16, the last tie-in in the Death of the Family event, and the final issue in the Red Hood Titans crossover. Will secrets be revealed? Will somebody die? Ha! Of course not. We'll have to read Batman number 17 if you want any of that. This is just to take a little bit more money out of your wallet. So, let's jump in. The comic opens with Red Robin and Red Hood and... I'm sorry. It just looks like that scene at the end is super bad. It looks like they might kiss at any moment. Tim talks about how he considers Jason a brother. Why? He didn't become a Robin until after Jason was killed. If he was a Robin at all, DC is still playing very coy about that for some reason. The Joker comes out and berates the two Reds before making his plan known. Over in the corner he has the two fathers, one number one and one deadbeat. Wait, I thought Red Hood's dad was dead. You know, he died in prison. I do not buy this scene for a second. But all this Bat family stuff is boring. I wonder what the Outlaws and the Titans are up to. Turns out, not a hell of a lot. Oh, but wait, there's a guy called Lance working for Amanda Waller, watching the two teams from a faraway rooftop. And he gets attacked by a snake lady working for Basilisk. Okay, seriously, who the hell are these people and what do they have to do with anything? Well, that was useless. Let's go to hell now and check in with Trigun and Raven. Wow, is that really her new 52 costume? Geez, well, at least she matches the other fashion disasters in the Titans. God damn. You know, with all this jumping around, I almost forgot this comic was about the Bat family, and I think Scott Lobdell did too. The Joker says the two Reds will have to fight each other to the death or both dads will die. So the two fight, and internal monologue, and God, this fight should not be so boring. Tim throws a batarang through the window, and Red Hood lets loose on the clown with his gun. and Red Robin is surprisingly okay with Red Hood killing the Joker. Now that is total BS. And, oh yeah, I was right, the two dads were actually fakes, which meant nothing was ever actually at stake. Cool. But from the Joker's bullet wounds comes a bunch of Joker gas. Okay, I know the clown is toxic, but this is just silly. The two Reds get knocked out and dragged away by the Joker before we once again see the Joker's silver platter as the comic ends.